Hello. So in all the assessments that I prepare for students, I like to put a statement about why the assessment's relevant. Why are we asking you to do this in your studies? And for HSC318, I've outlined this as you progress through your career as a health professional, you need to understand how determinants of health influence disease and injury levels in populations. And for the rural and remote Australian populations, there can be big differences in levels of disease and injury when compared to those in city and suburban areas. So research to identify why these differences are occurring, identify the precursors and the risk factors, and all of these drive the health policy development and indicate where health resources, education and promotion are needed. So basically we're asking, whatever area you work in, you need to be aware of what are the main health disparities that are going on around there. Where do we need to sort of start concentrating our resources and our policies? Where do we need to do more education to change behaviour and promote healthier choices within populations? And so this essay is asking you to choose a specific area that affects our rural and remote populations and do some research into this to find out what exactly is going on. Why are these issues happening for this particular topic that you've chosen? Right, so the actual task is I'm asking you to choose one of the following topic areas which have been identified by the Australian Institute of Health and Welfare as leading to or having higher levels of health disparities for people living in rural and remote Australia. So I've chosen these areas because they're very much the forefront of discrepancies. When we look at statistics and so forth, we can see that people in rural and remote areas have high levels of transport-related accidents, high levels of suicide, more risky alcohol use, and higher levels of obesity. Okay, and so that's why we've chosen these particular areas. However, if you wish to pursue a different topic, please just contact me and liaise with me, okay? And the reason I ask you to do that is that I want to make sure that you're choosing a topic that you'll be able to find information that you need on. But if there is another area that you would be really interested in studying for this particular essay, I really encourage you to pursue that. Once you've chosen your topic, what do you actually have to do? Well, you need to research and critically analyse the causations of this health issue and how it affects the lives of people living in remote communities of Australia. And when we're asking you to research and critically analyse, that means we don't want just a reiteration of what the facts are. We want you to actually think about it and present some type of critique as to why this would be happening. Okay, so critically analyse means have a look at the information you've got and start to question what you're looking at. Okay, there's some really good tips on the CDU website if you're not sure how to do critical analysis in your academic writing. Make sure you have a look at those resources, and they give you some really good step-by-step points as to how to get started with this type of essay. We then want you to identify some of your relevant health data statistics to demonstrate the incident levels and provide a comparison for Indigenous and non-Indigenous populations. So again, it's asking you for that evidence to show why is this, what's the health statistics telling us? What are the differences in incident levels? And is there a difference in how it affects Indigenous and non-Indigenous populations? It might be that it affects Indigenous populations more or less, okay? So find some up-to-date statistics for this, okay? Don't want anything from 10 years ago. You should be able to find as current health data as possible. And that's where you look for your research articles to help support that as well. Then we want you to identify a relevant Australian health organisation and a strategy they use to address the health disparity for rural and remote Australian populations. So you found out about your topic, you know how it affects different populations. Now let's go and see what we're doing about it. Okay, so there's some really good health organisations out there, both government and non-government funded, and we don't mind which one you choose for this essay. But I want you to go in and find one of these organisations and identify something. So a strategy can be, it might be a health policy that they're working towards, it might be a health promotion, it might be health education, it might be provision of health care. Okay, any of those is fine, so long as it's relevant and relates back to that main topic, that main health disparity area that you're examining. So quickly to update, you'll need to work through Module 1 and 2. You'll find a lot of different health organisations, for example, referred to in these first two modules, and we talk a lot about the determinants of health, so it'll really help you get on track with this first assignment. Visit the Australian Institute of Health and Welfare, okay? They have a great website and you'll find a lot of your data and statistics that you need for this. And of course your set text as well will be really helpful. Conduct some research using the library resources. Don't forget we've got a health liaison librarian, Lisa Ban, there ready to assist you if you're having troubles locating some research articles, for example. But we also have a Bachelor of Health Science library guide set up. And so if you go into the library website on CDU, you'll be able to find a link for that. So this is written as an essay, so we want you to use your standard academic writing. You know, it should have an introduction, structured paragraphs, no point forms and no tables, okay, and 1,000 words maximum. All right, we do allow that 10% leniency on either way, but 1,000 words is a small essay, so you shouldn't really be writing under 1,000 words, particularly given the scope of the topic we've asked you to cover in this essay. Make sure you include a reference list and use APA style. Don't risk losing marks unnecessarily because you don't know how to use APA referencing, okay? Referencing is a really important part of your academic presentation. It represents the work and the research you've done for your assignments, okay? So get it right, okay, and make sure you get top marks for this area of your assignment. We want you to include at least 5 references for this, you know, because that's showing us that you are going out and doing the research. And we want you to have at least 2 research articles, okay? So, and you should have no problem finding that. There's been a lot of research done about health and across the rural and remote areas of Australia. Include a footer with your name, student number and unit code. If I'm going to download these and mark them offline, then that helps me know exactly whose work I'm marking when I want to upload it again, okay? To submit your assignment, we're asking you to make sure you do save it as a Word document. Don't save it as a PDF and so forth. Word documents mean we can put track changes on and so forth when we review your work. Please label it with your name, student number, unit code, and I've given you an example here. You can submit it through Assessment 1 link provided in the Learn line, and make sure you use the draft submission as well. So remember, the draft submission set up there to make sure you can check your work for any evidence of plagiarism, or it might be that you've just poorly paraphrased, okay, and it'll pick up those areas where it's just linked a little bit too closely to the source you used. You'll need to go back and just put it more into your own words, because remember, it shows us then that you understand what you're writing there and not just copying someone else's ideas. Also remember then it will pick up if you've submitted work previously, so you have to ensure that every assignment that you submit for any of your units that you do in your studies is your own original work and you've not submitted it in a previous assessment or unit, okay? So to quickly outline the rubric, the first section, which is the biggest chunk of your mark there, is assessing you on your ability to research and present a critical analysis of your chosen health disparity and demonstrate that you understand how it affects rural and remote populations in Australia. So you'll see the bulk of your feedback actually sits in these rubrics. So you're not going to get miles of feedback within your assignments, because what we want you to do is actually have a look at the section of the rubric that we've highlighted for each area of your assignment, and that gives you an indication of what you've done well or where you needed to improve. The next part of your rubric looks at the fact that you've presented relevant health research data statistics. So that's that second criteria that I was outlining there. Again, the rubric outlines what it is that we're seeking for. So you should always be looking at that excellent column of your rubric and finding out what it is that you need to do to be able to get those top marks. And the second part of the rubric that we've got on this screen is again the marks allocated for your ability to identify a relevant Australian health organisation and strategy that they use. The last part of your rubric is around your referencing and written expression, and it actually forms 20% of your overall marks out of 100%. So it's significant, and again, this is where I say to you, make sure you get your work proofread if you can. If you have, if English is your second language, seek some assistance to make sure that you've got good sentence structure, grammar, flow. Don't risk losing marks for this. Use the CDU services that are out there. Okay, and again with your referencing, as I said, APA style, make sure you get 10 out of 10 for this, okay? There's no reason why you shouldn't if you actually follow the APA guide and present your work properly. Right, so not sure how to get started. If you've watched this outline and you still don't know how to get started, please contact your unit coordinator and ask, okay? You can find my contact details in the unit online, and I'd much rather make sure that you get in contact with me early so we make this a successful journey for you. All right, so good luck with assessment 1.